Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wytch Cafe, your safe place to talk about anything strange, UFO, UAP if you're fancy, and now Sasquatch. Because who doesn't love a good Sasquatch topic or conversation or documentary? I know I do. So tonight we have Tyler from Dockside Media to talk about Secrets of the Sasquatch, which is going to be their their newest documentary that they'll be releasing. When will you be releasing that?
It drops July 5th, so this
Awesome.
Tuesday. So celebrate your 4th of
Mm.
July and Independence Day and all that good stuff. And then you can nurse that hangover watching Secrets of the Sasquatch on July 5th. And, you'll feel right as rain.
It was a great documentary, and I told Tyler that I did watch it with my son. I'm always afraid that I'm making him super nerdy because he's all into, like, space and science and now Sasquatch, but he was all about it. So you can watch it with your family if they're fans of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Um, so, do you wanna do a quick, intro of yourself, just in case anybody new is listening to this?
Sure. Well, one, Pricilla, thank you so much for having me on. You had Chris Rupert and myself on a few months back to talk about our first documentary, Conscious Contact Full Disclosure. So we really appreciate it. And we have a lot of fun and we love doing this and talking with you. And you're a great person. I love what you're doing. Two, that's so dope that your son watched it with you and enjoyed it. And no, you're not making him nerdy. He's becoming very well-rounded and hopefully having an open mind, right, to the
Absolutely.
world and what's out there. Three, okay, so Dockside Media, we are the dopest documentary production company this side of the Milky Way. Dig it, dug it, dagnabbit, let's go. Check it. So it's actually comprised of Chris Rupert and myself. Chris was supposed to be on, but he had a last-minute conflict, scheduling conflict, and had to go attend to that. So I'm still here, which I still feel great about. And Pricilla, I love this filmmaking. I love doing these paranormal documentaries. The first one was Conscious Contact Full Disclosure about UFOs, aliens, consciousness, telepathy, hybrids. And the second one was The Ghosts of Gettysburg, which we did some haunted campouts, or did a haunted campout and interviewed some property owners of some haunted properties on historic lands. And then the third one we made is this Secrets of the Sasquatch that's coming out here July 5th. The other two dropped in the end of April. So, man, and what I was getting at is, I love this so much. I was just down at the beach for just like a quick 3-day trip with my son and my sister
Nice.
and her 3 kids. And I brought the microphone, I brought the 1080p stream camera, and I'm like chilling in a Starbucks parking lot, like the what was it, Wednesday night here, like doing live, being on 2 other podcast shows to talk about Secrets of the Sasquatch while I'm on vacation outside Starbucks, stealing their Wi-Fi signal. Oh, actually, I bought something, so I didn't steal it. So I was using their service that they provide when you buy
Exactly.
something there. And the cops are there's a 2-hour parking lot. Oh yeah, it was just great. It was great. I love everything about it. So, it's even better being home, like in my office, and being able to talk about this with you. So,
Absolutely.
Dockside Media, or go ahead. Just, I guess in
Oh.
general, Dockside Media, right? We're just making paranormal documentaries. And we've got our next one, our 4th one. We're just finishing up, and it's going to release the end of this summer, early fall, called In Plain Sight, the Intelligence Community and UFOs, which is another one. Had a lot of cool interviews with Richard Doty, John Ramirez,
I love
retired
John.
CIA agent. Yeah. So
that one's going to be good. I'm excited to see that one too, because you did talk to a lot of big names, I think, in the community. So we're about it. This is my first time having a Sasquatch person on. and I know you do it all, but I was supposed to have Ron Coffey on, and something fell through. And he is the author of Kentucky Cryptids, and
Okay.
so he's been on a few documentaries, and something happened with his family, and he couldn't make it. So I'm gonna try and get him back on once I move and get settled, because I like the cryptid stuff. It's entertaining, and why not? You know, we don't know anything about this world when it comes down to it, and there's so many thick woods. Like, just driving, well, I lived in Alaska, so out there
Oh,
there's like, they go to we would like four-wheel to these places to camp, and it would just be like nothing, and it makes you wonder like what's out there, because it's just so thick in some parts of these woods, and in Canada as well. They take really good care of their forest, it seems like. So there's a lot of like that thick forest. The United States, we're kind of destroying ours little by little, but
but there's still a lot of remote wilderness out there. There really
really,
is.
yeah.
And so part of the secrets of the Sasquatch to make this documentary, we did a few different campouts. The one, Eric Hubbard and Desiree Patton came along with us. And so we're out there and we're setting up different like lures and traps and whatnot, and out with thermal, like infrared cameras, or like an infrared camera. And oh, dude, it was nuts. And like what you're talking about, I know, I don't know if you'll remember the shot, but there's a part in the doc. I just remember when we were there on this camp out, and these two are going in exploring, and I'm doing the filming, and I'm like, oh man, I really need a shot. Like, this looks so cool with them panning this red flashlight back and forth, this red lens flashlight back and forth in the woods. I really
Wow.
need a shot of like the audience being able to see them doing this. So I'm out in
Right.
the woods, pitch black by myself, like, I don't know, 30 yards, whatever, off this trail, filming this shot. And oh, dude, just the hairs on the back of my neck standing straight up. Like, dude, I could just be plucked right
Right,
out of
right.
here by a Sasquatch, and nobody would ever see or
Or a
hear from me
UFO.
again. It was,
Yeah,
oh,
it gets spooky out
exactly.
there. I'm gonna address something in the audio in the chat right now. A Grandmaster, if you got blocked, that was a mistake, because I remember seeing you around, and you've always been so good. And this message was supposed to say, "Hi, Grandmaster. I'm so sorry. That's weird. I will try and figure it out. Yeah, get me if you want to message me your original account, I can fix that. I'm so sorry about that. He's been on here, he's always supporting the channel, and he disappeared. So now I know why.
That's
Sometimes
what's up. I feel like I remember him.
Yeah,
Maybe
sometimes
the
I'm like,
contact was
I'm
closed.
fidgety, so maybe I was doing something and accidentally blocked you. I'm sorry. I think I blocked George one time too on accident. So I just need a fidget toy when I'm doing these you know, like the kids, the popper things.
Yeah,
But
my son's
yeah,
got plenty. Yeah. What's
exactly.
the
So,
infinity cube? Have you seen those yet? Where you keep like
oh.
flipping, it just keeps going.
Oh my
You have to get the.
goodness.
You would love it.
Yeah, I like me and the kids love stuff like that. We like slime. But anyways, back to I'm so sorry. I just wanted to let Grandmaster know I didn't mean to block him. That was an accident. Uh but yeah, you're out there in the middle of nowhere, and anybody that's been camping, like real camping, like you go in backwoods camping especially, it's so spooky out there in the coolest way. But it makes you start thinking, like, what if there is a Sasquatch out there? And the stories I've heard is kind of like, if you're respectful to them, you're respectful to you. Did you get any of that sort of information on their behavior with people when you were filming?
So I had heard that as well, and it was actually it's kind of ironic that you brought that up. Just that before the very first camp out, Sue Walker had reached out to me and just said about, hey, here's some things, be respectful. Like when you go in, exactly like what you were just saying, and which was a great tip. And me, I'm just always open-minded, respectful, just bringing good vibes. Like, look,
Yes.
I'm not coming out here,
No.
yeah, trying to cause any chaos or anything, man. I just have
Right.
nothing but positive intentions. And so, um, yeah, and just backing up one step, I love, man, that the people we interviewed, like these are like woodsmen and
Yeah.
hunters. Like I've been out, like I've hunted deer hunting for like maybe 20 years. Dude, that's a lot of falls, like a bunch of days out in
Right.
the woods. I've gotten 0 deer. I've seen like maybe 6, right? Like, and that's me
Right.
out there looking for them before sun up till after sundown, like just very, very, aware, right? So
Right.
if deer and things of this nature can certainly stay like kind of just outside your range of sight and hearing
Mhm.
and whatnot, I mean, I don't think it would be any problem for a Sasquatch to do something like
No.
that. So the cool thing is these people that I interviewed, man, I could tell through and through, like they were hunters. I mean, we're sleeping out in tents in like 26-degree Fahrenheit weather.
Right.
And the guy Randy Smith, one of the experiencers, like, dude, he's just like picking up flaming log. Like he's like, oh man, we got to move these logs, adjust this fire. He's just picking up barehanded.
Oh my gosh.
And same deal out, like we're passing time. So he's fishing, handling all these like lures and freezing wet, cold stuff.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like,
Yeah.
bro, like he is a woodsman and you can tell, oh, oh, dude, that's a fox. Oh, that's a raccoon. Oh, that's a squirrel.
Yeah.
So it was really neat to get to meet all these people who, man, I could just, I could tell like they're just not somebody who just walks in the woods every once in a while and maybe they heard
Right.
something. It's like, oh, dude, no, like if they saw something, heard something, and they say it was a Sasquatch, dude,
Right.
my money would be on them to be able to ID it versus even somebody like me who likes to be outdoors and does some
Yeah.
hunting, but not good at it, blah, blah, blah. So it was cool. It was cool to get, to just hear these people. And I loved, I'll be quiet and let you talk for a second. But
Oh,
I
no, I'm
loved
listening.
Randy Smith. I thought it was very interesting. He made a comment about, I always said if I ever saw a Sasquatch, I would run right at it. And when I did, I just I couldn't move. I was frozen.
Yeah.
And that would just it resonated with me in again so much that Randy see like just based on the day and a half I spent with him, he seems like the type of person that probably would run at a Sasquatch if I had to put money on it. So it's amazing that, is it something instinctually where you go into
Right.
shock, you freeze? Is it some sort of side effect of seeing
Right.
the Sasquatch? Like people, report similar
Mm.
phenomena when seeing UFOs where
Exactly.
time sped up, time stood still. I couldn't move.
Yeah.
The thought to get my phone and record
Yeah.
it never like really crossed my mind. So yeah, it was interesting. These were
Right.
all, I loved all the people that were in this doc and they were just very genuine and compelling and down to earth.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what really gets me is these hunters that they are so in tune with their surroundings. It's like they have that sixth sense for hunting. All of their senses are involved when they're doing this. And on a lot of these Sasquatch documentaries, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, look at that. That's from a bear. Oh, look at that's from a fox." And you're like, "Where? Where?" Because we're not out there enough. So it's just like when pilots see UFOs, you think they're gonna get confused by a seagull? They're out there a lot, and they're like so, it's a similar thing with hunters, like, they also need to be very alert for safety reasons, because of bears and wolves. Sorry. I totally messed that up.
No,
But,
you didn't. I loved it.
wolfies. But, yeah, I was surprised that, Sue Walker was on there. And not because of, and I didn't even realize that I had seen some of her art of Sasquatches. Um, so when I saw her, it totally makes sense because there's that whole theory that Sasquatch and Bigfoots are interdimensional and they seem to be able to blip in and out of reality like some of these UFOs do. And then there's even that connection where people will see a UFO and a Sasquatch within the same time frame, and that's really fascinating too. So the whole freezing, is it like a telepathic thing like what, extraterrestrials do or interdimensionals, non-human intelligences do, just to sum it all up, to when they come into our room or you have a close encounter and you freeze?
Yeah,
So,
I'm picking up what
we can't even say because we don't know, but it's fun to think about.
it is. It is. And I think this is all great stuff. That's why Chris and I love making these documentaries because everybody is free to form their own opinion. And But we think by presenting these people's experiences and stories, it just allows you to maybe just start having some different thought processes, looking at things a little differently, asking some different questions, generating some momentum about, these different topics. And I think that's how you get to the bottom of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was very serendipitous how Sue Walker, ended up in the documentary. I mean, I had interviewed her for Conscious Contact, full disclosure. I don't think I had seen any of the Sasquatch paintings or drawings at that
Right.
point, her artwork. But I think during the interview, I don't know, somehow like she had planted a seed. I can't remember exactly what it
Hmm.
was, but somehow she had mentioned Sasquatch. We're filming, I think we started filming the Ghost of Gettysburg, and I don't know, I was
Right.
like on the way to a beach trip, and just kind of this what's it called, like divine inspiration, or maybe it was the Ponte giving me a nudge, or maybe it was Sue herself,
Yeah.
but it just came to him. I'm like, oh dude, Secrets of the Sasquatch. And I sent it to Chris. I'm like, bro, I think this would be our good next doc. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, dude, I like it. And so I just shot like a quick video when I got down there, just saying, I think Sue maybe had mentioned about the telepathy aspect. And or no, that they were interdimensional. I think that's what she had mentioned
Right.
back then, like originally, that sparked the seed to make this documentary. And then we just put out a bunch of posts, threw together these campouts. It was serendipitous. I love that we were trying to, we're making this documentary and we're getting these great interviews with experiencers, and we love Sue Walker's point of view, and which certainly, with footprints like just disappearing out of nowhere, and the things that you
Right.
mentioned, it's like, oh dude, that would explain a lot,
Right.
right? If that is it's the scenario which she is saying. But this whole time I'm like, man, Chris, we need an anthropologist. We need
Yeah.
somebody degreed. And I'll be darned if we weren't filming in plain sight the intelligence community
Right.
UFOs. And we interviewed Tom Carey because he's a
Yeah.
Roswell expert and author. He's written, I think, 12 like
Right.
novels on Roswell's interviewed like 600 first and secondhand
Yes.
witnesses to Roswell. Like, the dude's insane. But while we're interviewing him, by the end,
Yeah.
it comes up that he's an anthropologist. And we're like, well, bro, we're trying to get an anthropologist to finish this Sasquatch documentary. And it was great. We're like, hey, can you sit over in this chair, change shirts, we'll flip lighting, blah, blah,
Nice.
blah. And so, it was perfect. And I love what he brings to the documentary because,
Yeah.
I like the scientific approach. And there's a lot of people out there that like to hear, like an anthropological approach to it.
Exactly. You're speaking to different people, the more different types of people you have on of different professions. But yeah, he was saying it was like a relic bipedal hominid, and I can't even say it. It was like Meganthropus paleo. It was like a long, like it has a technical name. Bigfoot has or Sasquatch has a technical name like that in anthropology. So I thought that was really interesting because I'd never heard that before, and I also thought it was interesting. How Sue had said that they're like the herbalists of the forest, which makes sense because they're they if they live like such people are always like, oh well, why have they not come out, like kind of like the alien thing, like they want them just to be like, here I am. But if they like a simple life and they're watching us and they see how complicated we are, they want to do their own thing, and they take care of each other, is what she was saying too, right? So they're masters of herbal medicine, and they take care of each other. They don't want a lot of extra stuff like we have. So that could be part of the reason they lay low unless somebody's curious.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that certainly explains. I liked well, I guess we won't spoil it, but there was I love the one story she tells about the chokeweed.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh, it was great. I remember interviewing her, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. So I love everything about this story. This will
Yeah.
make the doc. And then
Yeah.
Chris does the edit and he sends it to me, and I'm giving him notes. I'm like, bro, where's the chokeweed story, man? And he's like, oh, well, and yeah, but the chokeweed story made it in. And I love too, and I'm not going to front like I'm a big Sasquatch like aficionado or anything like
Right.
that. But from me getting into these topics and researching them, like I hadn't heard before what Alfred Martinez mentioned, who's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he had a great sighting and just old stories passed down. But I like that that he mentioned, that they live in these families, and that similar to some other animal species, when the alpha male is like challenged or overthrown,
Yeah.
they are cast off, or they they are cast off on their own. And so that he had said that would explain, or that explains, like typically if you have a Sasquatch or Bigfoot sighting, like you're just seeing one. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
oh wow, I hadn't come across that previously, so I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And because people only see one, and if they get cast out like that. Cheryl has commented that I've heard a deep tone they can produce, like a bear crocodile, that kind of freezes you. So maybe there's some sort of like sound type thing that freezes us, or works with us on that level. I'd never thought of that. But yeah, I've only heard like the whooping on different documentaries. Um, and it's kind of crazy because I just feel like some of these people don't have like they don't seem like they're going to lie about it, you know? There was one where I watched a different one, and there was a group of hunters. So we don't give too much away about your documentary.
Oh yeah,
There was
no
a
worries.
group of hunters, and they were going to this spot, and they had like this whole camp set up, and it was super secret. They had to go out on horseback, and they were in the cabin that it was like a makeshift shelter. It wasn't a cabin, but it was like a makeshift shelter. And they were hearing like just these whoops just getting closer and closer. And it kind of freaked some of them out because they were getting so close. But I had also heard that they can do kind of like psychokinetic things too, like move things. Did anybody that you talked to talk about like stuff moving around when they were near them, or where they suspected there was a Sasquatch nearby?
I don't. I didn't come across any of that. I believe like the rock throwing. People have mentioned that a good bit. Tree knocks as well.
Yeah.
But as far as like the telekinesis or whatever it is where you're moving stuff with your mind, I didn't come across that, but I wouldn't be surprised. In something to was it Sherelle? How do you pronounce the name?
I said Sherelle, so I'm not sure if I said it
Okay.
correctly, but but she seems to
Okay.
have some experience with the Sasquatch. So
Yeah, but to Sherelle's point, I mean, certainly, yeah. I loved how you parlayed that into, is there like a certain frequency or something that that is hit and just freezes us, almost like a dog whistle, right? Like that's
right.
outside. You could blow one all day and everybody will just keep going around doing their thing,
Yeah.
but all the dogs will be wigging out. So is there some sort of tone? And same deal with like. And I don't know this enough, but somebody had brought up on one of the podcasts about like, I think it's whales with like a ultra low frequency that
Right.
can travel like miles and miles, right? And same deal, it's like out of our auditory range. But this is all fascinating stuff. And I just wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we find new species and whatnot. There's parts of like the deepest parts of the ocean that we're just discovering. Oh my gosh, life.
We
It's
did say her
Sherry.
name. Oh my God. No, I didn't see her. I didn't even look at the picture. I know Sherry. She's freaking awesome. I met her in New
Girl.
York. Yeah, she's amazing. This is like a girl crush. Like I want her to be my best friend. Like I'm ready to abandon the family and move to Jersey to hang out with her every day. But yeah.
Yeah.
So you just hit it off with somebody. But yes, I did. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know she was a Sasquatch girl. So now I know. Now I love her even more.
Sherry, you're amongst good peoples.
Yeah,
Sorry for the
Sherry's
name mess
awesome.
up.
Well, she said we said it right, but she goes by Sherry, and then she's like, and then I looked at her picture and I was like, oh, it's Sherry.
Oh, okay.
I was
All
because
right.
I'm bad at looking at pictures. I just read like the comment. But yes, thank you for showing up, Sherry. If you have any Bigfoot questions or anything like that, throw them in there, and this goes to anybody listening. But yeah, it's very I love your approach on things because you're not out here saying, "I am the expert on this and that." I feel like you kind of explore and, like, almost, like, with the curiosity and don't take this the wrong way, of a child. Like, I just see you, like, the way you view the world is like you're playing and making it a and then you're making a job out of it or a career out of it, an art out of it. So I love that as you're learning, it's like we're learning with you because I have watched some Sasquatch stuff, and I love it. But I every time I watch a different documentary from a different person, I learn new things. But yeah, that's why I was like, I just love your documentaries because I like
Oh,
because or talking to you about it because you're so passionate and you seem to explore it in just like a innocent way almost.
oh, well, yo, thank you so much. That really like makes my heart want to explode. And yeah, I really am just kind of like a child. So yeah, I don't mind if it comes off with that childlike curiosity. And I think, if anything, maybe that just helps me. Well, for me, like it helps me enjoy life. Like, some people might not get down with sleeping out in 26-degree weather and like just freezing your buns off and not
Yeah,
getting much sleep. And like it's just a lot of hustle to get the footage
right.
and get mics hooked up, and there's just a number of things. There's a lot, and even just like flying to go interview Alfred out in New Mexico, or
Oh,
Sue in
wow.
New Mexico. Like lugging that 70-80 pounds of gear on my back
Oh,
through
yeah.
these airports. Yeah, some people are like, "Oh, dude, I like that doesn't sound fun," but I just always look at it like, dude, this is insane that I get to even talk to these people,
Oh, yeah,
right? Like, how
absolutely.
am I here when we're out on the Gettysburg battlefield? And just
Yeah,
like,
that's
dude,
so
this
cool.
is like so many people just met
Yes.
traumatic ends here and just had crazy
Yeah.
experiences and
Oh,
bonds formed and
absolutely.
broke. So I just appreciate and just try and just be in the moment, be like, dude, this is just insane that I can even do it. So if my back needs to hurt, if I got to forego sleep for a day or two, like I'll catch up on that stuff later. It's no big deal.
Absolutely.
And I think that curiosity like keeps people young, and it's how stuff's like kind of discovered. Like, I feel like maybe something that is a tipping point for the UFO phenomenon and Sasquatch and ghosts.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's something super simple, right? That we just
Yeah.
aren't looking at it the correct way. The same way that uh, if back in like the 1920s, somebody said like, "Oh, dude, how could I get my opinion in front of like if I live here in the USA, how could I get my opinion in front of like say like the Queen of England or something?"
Right.
And you would have to go through like just a bajillion steps and months
Yep.
and months and months just to get this little letter all the way over there, and then her
Yeah.
probably not even read it.
Right.
Uh, but like my son today, if you would, I'd be like, "Oh, well, dude, just tweet at Queen of England or whatever," and it'll go directly to her. Like these are just, but like the stuff that's commonplace today would be something that people couldn't even conceive or comprehend
Right.
100 years ago. So 100 years from now, yeah, I think that some people, the kids will be like, "Bro, you couldn't you
Right.
couldn't move something from like the moon to here instantaneously just by
Right.
pressing
Yep.
that button." Well, why don't you just press that button? It's like, well, bro, we didn't have the button and then all the
Right.
technology behind it to harness quantum mechanics, right? And
Right.
quantum entanglement. But when we do have that technology and power, yeah, it'll be commonplace. People will think, what we were savages.
Yep.
And right now, I think, man, we're kings and queens because the fact that I could even be on vacation and then like
Yeah.
be on a high quality stream. Like the backdrop was my
Yeah.
car, but dude, there's
Yeah.
no delay. Starbucks is cranking out some great Wi-Fi signal,
Right.
like 720p or 1080p, whatever I'm
Yeah.
shooting in, clean audio running like the mics with from a laptop sitting on the dashboard, plugged into an adapter going into like the cigarette lighter. You know what I mean? Like this is,
Yeah.
it's crazy that we can do this, but
It's cool,
this,
yeah.
that will be ancient 100 years from now, and
Oh,
we'll be
absolutely.
savages for even thinking that that's the way we should do things.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about what technology is going to get developed. And I see Alien Girl in the chat. Did you need to check out? You need to go hang out with Alien Girl next time you go to New Mexico. She's in New Mexico.
I know. I had like a delayed flight. There was a possibility. Yeah, we were maybe going to meet up when I
the
flew in the one time.
the
Cause
Alien
like, yeah,
Girl.
she
She
was
can give
following
you
me
the
too.
Alien Girl Roswell tour.
She's
But
great.
yeah,
She's
I love her
absolutely
show.
great. I love, yeah, we were on her show, and we're going to be going on her show coming up here,
Awesome.
talking about
Yeah.
Secrets of the Sasquatch.
I love Alien Girl, and I love everybody in the chat. So, but yes, was there any moment when you're camping out there where you kind of like did your mind play any tricks on you? Like that's it, that's a Bigfoot, I hear him coming, or a Sasquatch, I hear him coming. Did you like scare yourself at all? Were there any moments where you were like, holy crap, I might see one?
That part where I was filming them with the red flashlight, that was like,
Mm.
I think probably the part I felt the most nervous. There was one weird thing during that. Okay, so during that camp out as well, the one with Eric and Desiree, like we're out in the middle of nowhere in Western Pennsylvania, and at like 10 o'clock at night or something, yeah, like a car pulled down this like dirt road we were on, and then kept going all the way back to like where it ended, and then sat there for a while. And maybe it was some teenagers, but yeah, I know I was just kind of wigging out. I'm like, oh man, like I feel like they need to leave, because if we hear anything, yeah, like I can't rule out it's not these knuckleheads down here.
Right, right.
And it was just like, oh well, yeah, then it's just getting later and later, and it's like, oh dude, well, I don't like, yeah, are they going to come after us? I have no idea. This is weird that
Yeah.
somebody, because like, yeah, it was just a weird spot where they had parked, and
Mm.
but eventually they left, so yeah, nothing happened. That was odd, dude. When I was supposed to interview Randy Smith, and something came up
Mm.
where it had to get canceled last minute, and like I'm already in my car, like ready to go do this camp out. So I just like call an audible, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go camp out just by myself up near
Mm.
Centralia, which is this abandoned ghost town
Oh,
in
cool.
Pennsylvania. Coal seams of coal, like underground, caught fire. I don't remember how many years ago at this point, say 50 or something, or 60. And they're still smoldering to
Oh
this
my
day
oh, I think
underground.
I
So the whole town
wow.
they had to abandon the town. There's like these in the like the forested area. Yeah, there's like these stacks, like metal stacks that come up out of the ground to like
Oh my
release the
goodness.
heat or whatever. And it was crazy because same deal. That was like in the, I think, high 20s or something like that. And like, so it's freezing outside, but like I could put my hand like up, like the back of my hand up on this pipe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy. This is getting crushed by, 29-degree wind, and this pipe is warm. That's nuts.
Yeah.
But so during that whole experience, after I leave, like the little town of Centralia, I make my way to like a state forest nearby where I can just like go pitch a tent in and camp for the night. So like I
Yeah.
hike back like a half mile, whatever, and I'm like out in the remote forest. Dude, while I'm setting up this tent, I see a UFO,
Oh,
which is
nice.
which was like just wild.
Had
Yeah,
you
just
seen
like
one prior? Had you seen one before that, or is this the first time you've seen one?
I feel like that this would have been the most likely to be a UFO. I had
Okay.
done some like night vision goggles and stuff, and just the way the objects were moving, at
Yeah.
least the ones I saw during the experience, like they could have been satellites. It was like just a straight trajectory,
Mm.
nothing no erratic movements or 90-degree turns or anything changing acceleration. And I've even seen like on the camp out with Randy Smith, yeah, I mean a clear enough sky, dude, like I pointed out, yeah, 2 satellites to them. I'm just like,
Right.
guys, look, you can track this all the way across, like that is a
Right.
satellite with our naked eye. That's nuts.
It's
And
cool, yeah.
you got to remember, it's not lit up. There's no light on that. That's the sunlight
Yeah.
reflecting off that down to our eyes.
Yeah.
So even though I'm like really open-minded and curious, like I'm not one to just, oh, that's a UFO, that's a UFO. Like I
Right.
always try and think through, like, oh, dude, I see, while I'm very open-minded and believe ghosts are certainly a possibility, I see sometimes I'll see like a picture and it's like, oh, dude, this orb is a spirit, and it very well could be, but I've put my finger on my on my camera cell phone like enough, my greasy
Yeah.
finger, and taking pictures, and then these spots show up to be like, oh, dude, I understand. Yeah, sometimes these orbs are created. There's natural means, right?
Right.
Or natural explanations. Man, I'm getting way off topic. Oh, so here, I'm on this camp out by myself, out in the middle of nowhere, see this UFO, which, what would be like my first legit one, because it's like tracking like from right to left.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, oh, dude, that's like kind of a bright light, but it's weird. It's freezing cold out. It's already dark, and I got to get this tent set up and make a fire yet, or else I'll freeze to death. And all of a sudden, like, it stopped. And then it was like, went down some, stop, went down some, stop, went down some, stop, like a couple degrees at a time. And I'm just like, oh, shoot. Get like the cell phone out, go to record it. And by that time, then it's down below the tree line.
Right.
Like, oh, man. But it was, one of those experiences where it was like, oh, dude, I really couldn't commit a ton of my brain power to it, because, like I legitimately had to get that tent set up, and then I had to build like a fire ring, which, dude, for anybody out there watching, if you read, like the state forest guidelines, and like, oh, you can build a fire ring to make a fire in and use rocks and up to 3 foot diameter, dude, it takes a long time to find rocks in the woods. You would think they would be plentiful. No, dude, no, it's a pain. So I was just doing so many things that I really, like, I didn't report it to MUFON or anything like that. I think I made a Reddit post, and a couple people might have said that in the area they had seen it.
Oh, yeah.
But man, this is a real long-winded story. To get to the spooky part was at like 1 o'clock or midnight. It was very late, and like as I'm falling asleep, just about to, I hear like somebody like talking to another person at like pretty loud.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I like freeze, unzip my tent, go flying out, grab my knife out. I'm just like, dude, if I'm going down, like,
I'm gonna fight him.
There's gonna be a fight. I'm like, you're not gonna just roll up on my tent. Like,
right.
This is nuts. And dude, I was out there heart racing, for like 5-10 minutes, just like, and nobody came, dude. It was the weirdest thing. So
that is weird.
I like the next morning, since I had hiked in the dark, I didn't really know this, but the next morning on the hike back out, it appeared like I wasn't too far off, like the Appalachian Trail or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And there would have been I forget what they call it, but like there's like a little public hut or something, like a shelter where people can use. So I wasn't super far away from that. And I guess it's a possibility that maybe somebody was hiking in there at like 1 o'clock in the morning and were yelling and stuff. But man, I know it freaked me out. And I didn't see anybody the next day, but
and you're in that area, you're in Appalachia, so it's like there's so many kind of like spooky like lore out there, people say all these different scary creatures are out there, and people even. So the people that hike that definitely are brave, but you just were there. So they also say that you hear like calls at nighttime. You're not supposed to like acknowledge it because it's trying to lure you out. So so you did what you weren't supposed to do. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, it was due. If it sounded like people, usually I guess what they say in that, in Appalachia, if you hear a child in the middle of the night, which is kind of confusing because as a parent, you hear somebody's kid crying, you're going to want to go out there.
Yeah.
But then you're like, I'm in Appalachia. Sorry, kid. I'm not going out
Huh.
there. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories out there. If you want to get,
That's
yeah,
go
if you
ahead.
get super
Finish your thought. I want to
if you
hear
want to
that.
get freaked out, definitely look into like Appalachia like folklore because there's a lot of like cool scary stuff out there.
Huh, because, like, on the Randy Smith camp out, dude, it was real odd. Now that you mention it, on that one, we did hear children's voices at, like, 11 at night. It's like, dude, and
Right.
I'm like, who is letting their kids out here in the middle of nowhere, like, at this hour? This does not seem right. That's so weird. And oh man, I hate to plug another documentary, but yo, we're about to start shooting Ghosts in the Graveyard, Pure Pandemonium. Okay, which
Oh,
is about there's a ghost town in Pennsylvania called Pandemonium. Crazy little history about it. And there's this pioneer cemetery, uh, which is like haunted, and it's out on like
oh,
state lands again, like out in this state forest. And I was just up there, I think like last week, interviewing this gentleman Marlon, who's like an author and has done a bunch of research on it. And dude, it was wild. I'm like, yo, this is crazy how out here in the middle of nowhere, like this cemetery looks pretty like up, like well
yeah.
kept. Like the vegetation and stuff isn't super overgrown. It's only like whatever 5 inches, 6 inches high. I was like, yeah, like what does somebody come out here and do this or what? Or you're like in the late summer and stuff. Does it really
Right.
get overgrown and look crappy? He's like, dude, I've been coming here for 12 years or 10 years. Every time I come here, it is the exact same height. Like it never is
Wow.
never lower, never higher. Like the vegetation always stays the exact same height in this little cemetery. And there's
Wow.
these little children's headstones and stuff. Dude, it's crazy. So
No
if
thanks.
it, if anybody, well, if you get out here, here's what's up.
Yeah.
July 9th, which is next Saturday at
Yeah.
1 p.m. Eastern time, we're camping out there
Oh
at
man.
doing a haunted camp out. Dude, we're doing some gnarly stuff. Ouija
Sounds pretty
board,
cool.
investigative gear. We're playing Ghost in the Graveyard, the old children's game
Oh my
there, of
gosh.
course, because
That's so fun.
that will be insane.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and so yeah, anybody watching, listening, yeah, we put like a public post, on social medias asking people if they like to come. We've got a number of people. I think we have like maybe 6 people coming right now,
Oh,
7 people
cool.
in this camp out. So if anybody else wants to join us, the more the merrier. And then yeah, you get to end up in one of our documentaries. So you get to have the experience of a lifetime. And yeah, you get to share your experience on camera then.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
cool.
join us.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool places in Pennsylvania that I'm hearing of from you and from other people, that it's a really good place to go, do paranormal investigations. So I think that you guys might find something cool. And then also just like it's kind of like goes back to the kid thing. Like you're gonna go there and kind of like maybe scare yourself a little. Like maybe there's something, maybe there isn't, but you're gonna be playing the Ghost in the Graveyard game.
Dude,
and
and light as a feather, stiff as a board. I
that
believe we're
works.
gonna do
That
I
works.
believe
Have
we're
you
gonna
ever done
do
that?
that. Yeah, dude. We're going. I'm like,
Have
yeah.
you done it
100%.
before?
Have I done it before? Oh, girl. Yeah, I've had sleepovers, right? When I was 9, 10, 11, 12,
How does
13,
it
14.
work?
Yeah, I've done.
Because we've done it with like 5 girls in this big ol' like almost 300-pound Viking dude, and it worked with our fingers. Lifted this beast up. That was like
Dude.
my first witchy experience with like a group of other witches, and it was like this guy is a big guy.
Right.
So like, is it mind over matter? Or like, what is it? How do you do the dude is big. Like, and I just yeah, he's literally he's very like like over 6 feet tall, just a big Viking dude. And we were just like, "Boop." It's
Dude.
crazy. So that's gonna be fun for you guys to do for sure.
Well, what are the odds I can get you, Viking dude, and the other 4 out there by July 9th so we can get
Yeah,
this on
oh, I
camera?
wish, I wish. It'll work. You just have to like really like get it almost in like in a meditative state so you
Hmm.
can do it. But it should work. But I that was the first time I had tried it. It was like a couple years ago. I was kind of like, it sounds weird, like coven shopping almost,
Yeah, yeah,
because I wanted to be, I wanted to practice with people, and
yeah.
that didn't end up working out. Their coven didn't really stay together, but that was one of their little this camp that we did for a full moon, and that was one of the things we were doing afterward, just kind of messing around. So it was really cool and really trippy. But can you do it to a Sasquatch? That's the real question.
Mm. Well, I'm gonna go out there open-minded, so if one shows up, we will certainly ask if they feel comfortable with us, yeah, doing light as a feather, stiff as a board, though.
Yeah, I will be in that area at some point. I told you guys I'm moving to
Dude, you
Baltimore.
did!
Yeah, yeah. So, there's some good
Carlisle
haunts in
area.
Baltimore too. Yeah. So, yeah, even if you're going through to DC or anything, you guys will have to like hit me up because
I
I
would love
really
Yo, the
I need.
Carlisle jaunt. I feel like this,
You're in
I
Carlisle?
no, well, like
Okay.
an hour and 15 minutes from
My
me. I'm like
friend's
real
dad's in
close.
Carlisle. My friend's dad's in Carlisle. He was working at the school there and they grow up there. So that's so funny because nobody knows about. I feel like I didn't hear about Carlisle till I met her. So
Dude. Well, I
yes,
think this
keep
this
it
Pioneer Cemetery in the ghost town of Pandemonium is pretty near Carlisle. Like,
very cool.
yeah, 30 minutes maybe or something. So you can
Oh
even
my
check
gosh.
it out
Now we're just
yourself when you're
telling
in the town.
ghost stories. Now we're just talking about cool things. We veered off from
We did.
Sasquatch. Sorry, Sasquatch, if you're listening telepathically. Um, so what is like so back to the documentary Secrets of Sasquatch. What is there anything that you learned that you were just like blown away by?
I thought it was very interesting getting Sue Walker's
Yeah.
perspective because, prior to starting Dockside Media and digging into these different paranormal topics, and having these knowledgeable people share their experiences. So prior to that, I would have said, yeah, I think there's a very good chance that probably like Sasquatch, Bigfoot exist, but would have said, oh, it's most likely just, yeah, some like bipedal hominid,
Right.
like some sort of primate that was never, yeah, really like truly discovered, right? It just remains elusive and there's only a few of them, etc. But yeah, I think hearing Sue's story and the more that I dig into this, I would not be shocked if they were interdimensional at all
Yeah.
or extraterrestrial, right?
So many people have the stories, right, where they just kind of like appear and then they're gone. So that would be, and we're starting to think that about even like what we can once consider, yeah, it's ET from somewhere else. Now we're like, wait a minute, are they interdimensional? So or right here next to us and we don't even know it.
And that stuff, it's like, man, I think our human minds just have trouble. Man, I don't even know if I can like really comprehend interdimensional. And until somehow it's like, in a like interdimensional made for dummies book or whatever, or like some part of, yeah,
You have to
science
experience
cracks it.
interdimensional. You have to experience an interdimensional being to understand it. And then you're like, what the hell? Like we're just embedded in all these different realities and like I'm just supposed to go like drive my kids to the store now or to the playground knowing that like there's other dimensions within myself almost like embedded within ours and we're embedded in theirs. Like you can think about it. I like will wake up at 3 and start thinking about stuff like that. So, and then if you start reading Michio Kaku has a book called, I think it's called Many Worlds. I'll have to look it up, but
Okay.
it's about interdimensional stuff and how the physics behind it, and that's when you're really like this, you know, this is real, but still to wrap your mind about it, like how are you supposed to go watch like Kim Kardashian ruin Marilyn Monroe's dress and not, when there's other dimensions around you?
Right,
It's
right.
trippy enough looking out in space, we were outside and we forget we're surrounded by space. I gave my son this little, like, app. I know I talk about my son a lot, but I'm a stay-home
No, I
mom,
love
guys.
it.
This is, like, my whole life, the kids and this
Yep.
this
Now
channel. So,
my
kids
kids
and,
my life. Yep.
this, YouTube. But so he has the app and he's looking down and it's called Star something or other, and it shows you constellations, and it shows you satellites, and it shows you, like, abandoned like space trash, like, you know, rocket parts, and when it was
Mm.
which one is up there, when it got there, like from the 1970s or whatever. And he just was like, Mom, we're surrounded in space. And he had never thought about that before. And I think so many people are there where they just haven't thought about these supernatural possibilities before, like interdimensional beings. Like the reality, Sasquatch might be real, and Sasquatch is very stigmatized, just like UFOs, right? Because people are like, "Oh God, oh you're one of those, like you believe in Bigfoot," you know what I mean? But if you start looking into it, you will wonder, and if you don't wonder, then you're not thinking. I'm sorry, if you don't, if you do research on something you doubt that's paranormal, and I'm just saying that as like a blanket term,
Yeah.
you know, then I just feel like how boring for you to just be like, this is it, reality TV and nachos. I love some nachos, but I can't, I need, like, you know, like, I need to explore other possibilities of things that are not just the everyday mundane things. And then to think that there's possibly other dimensions within these like, you know, dim- within our own dimension. Like I'm driving a car and I'm in dimensions. Like it's crazy. Like,
Yeah, no, this stuff blows my mind. And uh, it's just really wild when you think about it that, dude, if humans, you know, Homo sapien, if we've been like doing this life thing for like 70, 100,000 years,
yeah,
whatever, dude, just in the like out of those 100,000 years, just in this last little bit, dude, we have grown so
yeah,
much. Like our minds have expanded and thought of stuff and been curious enough to just
right,
keep looking through microscopes until we get down to an atom and then a Higgs boson
right,
because we filled these tubes and we're smashing atoms together, you know, at like nearly the speed of light or
right.
whatever, and creating black holes and like this.
Yep,
So it's like, and
little
it's
black holes.
nuts that, dude, you know, all of this has happened like, man, really quick, just in these last, yeah, 100 years, 50 years, 30 years, 20 years. The last 10 years have been
Right.
nuts. So I'm still spinning electrons in my head trying to manifest. Dude, I think I'm living to like 300, 500. I don't know, but like medicine could get
Mhm.
just in the next 20 years. And with people like Jeff Bezos dumping money into like anti-aging, reverse aging science, it's like, oh, well, yeah, man, somebody
Yeah.
can probably crack it. We got starfish that get an arm chopped off and grow it back. Like these are things that you know, the animal kingdom, like other
Yeah.
species are doing these things. You've got tortoise. Okay, I don't want to misname it. Somebody in the comments can do it, but like I don't know what can they live for like 100 or 1,000
Yeah,
years, right?
yeah,
So even like Sasquatch, it's like okay, well, yeah, who's to say they have like a 65, 70-year life? Like, dude, they could have a 20,000-year lifespan for all we know. Like, I don't
right,
know biologically, right? Like what their metabolism is and all these different things that affect like cells
right,
aging and dying and regenerating and all this
right.
stuff.
Like
Um,
metagenomics, like the, how your environment can change, how your genes combine, recombine, activate, and all that stuff.
oh,
So
I'm
there's
a
that with energy too, you know what I mean? They're thinking that, like, the things that your ancestors were exposed to can change the way their genes are expressed.
mm,
You know, sorry, I had to go back into my brain to think about the actual terms, but yeah, they, um, and that, so think about, you know, a person that's being exposed to all this stressful stuff and it does something to their genetics and it's causing these other genes to basically turn on or be expressed. And then you have a kid and that gets passed on.
isn't that
Um,
crazy?
yeah. So I imagine what other interdimensional uh beings would have something similar, even if it's just, you know, I hate to say it's just energy because technically everything is energy, but almost like an energetic imprint, like an energetic fingerprint that can change or get carried along.
Man, my head's about to explode. I love talking about all this interesting stuff, and you're just very like knowledgeable and intelligent and intellectual, like insightful and whatnot. So it's just really fun, man. trying to keep up with all the stuff you're saying, because it's so great. And I'm thinking about, like, we're getting real off topic here, but I think I was just watching some of, like, Tom DeLonge was just on Steve-O's podcast.
Yeah.
So if anybody has seen that or not, but Tom was talking about, like, past, like, time is all happening at once, like past, present, and future. Like, it's all here, right?
Right.
Even though we're just experiencing the present part, but like it's all happened already.
Right.
And he's talking about, how consciousness kind of plays a role in that, like what you believe, like, creates reality around you. And so the only thing I can kind of say to that is, like, dude, some people thought I was nuts that Chris and I could create a documentary company out of thin air and just start going and getting interviews and editings and get it picked up by 1091 Pictures and get it on these streaming services. But I don't know, dude, like, in my head, like, I kept believing, dude, this is happening. This is happening. We're going to get it picked up. We're going to, get these awesome topics and films and documentaries out in front of people so that they can engage in the topic and help generate more momentum. And
Like,
I don't know, I'll be darned if
not?
it didn't manifest and happen somehow.
No, you're putting that energy forward, and I can feel that, like, you really believe that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's important. Because think about how many times maybe you're in a position or a job you don't like, or this could be like anything, really, a friendship, a relationship, even just like the store you're at for that day. Why'd I go to the store? But you're kind of like setting these mental parameters, and you're making these things almost be expected or not expected. And when you do something like what you did, or even something small like starting a YouTube channel, like I had a guy tell me that I was going to be doing YouTube, and I could not do public speaking. I don't like to be looked at. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't like being the center of attention. Like, at my wedding, that was the scariest thing, people looking at me. And I just don't like to draw attention. I like to blend in. But then now here I am running my mouth on TV, basically, on online, But I never thought that would have happened. But then I was like, no, I just want to talk to people about weird things. And this is the only way it's going to happen. I try to talk to the other moms at the playground, the neighbors. The neighbors are great. They'll, like, entertain me. They'll be like, yeah, that's crazy. But they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. so same thing with my husband. He just goes to his happy place. And I started the YouTube channel. I could talk about weird things like Sasquatch, UFOs, spirits, interdimensional beings. And I get it out, and it lifts my spirits, and it makes me happy. It's almost like this is like my self-care. So, but you have to believe that it's possible, because I never would have thought that I would be able to talk to so many people publicly, I guess. Like, public speaking for me was not even there. Like, there's no way. Like, I was horrible at public speaking, and I don't even know how I passed that class, because you had to take it as an elective for, like, college or whatever. But I was surprised I passed that class, because I was so bad. I sounded like a baby goat, or like I had a vibrator on my throat. Like, like my voice would, like, shake so bad.
Just so, like, from nerves.
Yeah, because everybody was looking at me. But also this helps too, because you're not seeing the people looking back. So I think that might be, part of it, because we can talk to people without having people look at it, like, without having them in front of us, which is good and bad, right? Like, your documentaries reach all these people you may or may not see. But if you go to an auditorium and you give a presentation on one of your documentaries, everybody's looking back at you. It's going to feel different. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, you're totally right. It is crazy that you're just like, I'm going to do this documentary thing, but why not?
Oh, exactly. Why not? And dude, to your credit, that's so dope. I love that, your little story there. It's just a great anecdote of, like, man, like, I think therefore I am, right? Like,
Right.
You're right. When you thought you couldn't do public speaking, you couldn't. And you made you made the comment about, like, here you are on TV. Like, this is basically TV.
Yeah, it's TV for
Like,
us
anybody
now. Yep.
in
I watch
any other
YouTube,
generation would have said, oh, dude, yeah, Pricilla, you're on TV. And so, like, that's crazy. And it's mind blowing when you think about it. are you running this all yourself, correct? Like the
Yeah.
production, or do you have
Oh,
somebody on the back end helping
there's
run this?
nobody. It's
Yeah.
just me. Yeah.
So like you understand, right? You are also doing live broadcasting, which is, there's news anchors, there's people that go to school for like
Right.
sports commentators, like there's people that go and practice and try their whole lives to do what you've been able to do in a very short period of time. And it's like, dude, how fortunate are you? Like if you were born 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
like prior to when your original birth date is, it's like, oh, dude, YouTube is not in the same state like of where it is. So
Yeah.
for you to go create something like this is infinitely harder.
Well,
And
yeah,
same
you gotta think
with
about what
film.
people had to go through to, like, make film, right? I was about to say
Yeah, like
film.
if we wanted to go make these documentaries, yeah, years ago, even 20 years ago, I mean, man, they just it would have cost a ton of money just for
Yeah.
the equipment, to shoot on like actual physical film, and
Yes,
then have to
yes.
cut that
Process
and
it.
paste that stuff together, like tape it
Yeah.
together to create this whole film. It would have been maddening, but
Well, think
and I
about the
don't know if
cost
I
of,
would
like,
have seen the
lighting
film.
back then, like, the cost of lights, like, now you can go to, like, Five Below and get a ring light, and it works for some people, but I just think about all the costs, like you were saying, that
Yeah.
people like, big ol', like, rigs. Is that yours? Is that your
Yeah, I
camera?
mean, here's like one of my cameras with it's not, yeah, the autofocus isn't long, but it's like, it's on a gimbal. And so it's like, oh, well, bro, you know, if you're running through the forest, I can run beside you with that. And the footage you would get, it would look like, Hollywood had this giant track set up with a camera on a dolly. And it's like a $30,000, $50,000 shot. And it's like, oh, dude, we just bang this out in, 5 minutes. We got a bunch of good takes. Okay, now let's go to the next shot. And so
Yeah.
we can it's great and get 4K footage and
Yeah.
it's just nice. Right place, right time for both of us. And so, yeah, this
Absolutely. Absolutely.
feels a lot like destiny.
Yep, and I think that that's why I love your attitude as well, because you're just like, "Just do it." Like, whatever you wanna do, just do it, and we're so quick to set limitations on ourselves. And this might not be a big deal to somebody, but for somebody that was terrified of talking in front of people and getting recorded and all that, like, oh my god, we had to watch a recording of our speech for the communications class, and I was just like, I wanted to throw up. I was like, "Oh my god, I had to watch myself." So, people can overcome things, but yeah, I love that, and you're right, we are kind of like, people get mad at the word blessed because they put all this, but, we are kind of, like, blessed to have this technology, or we've been gifted this technology by somebody. Yeah, so I think it's really cool. We are coming up on the hour. So, your Secrets of Sasquatch comes out when?
Secrets of the Sasquatch drops Tuesday, July 5th on Amazon, Apple TV, iTunes, Google Play, PlayStation, Microsoft, and Vudu. If anybody watches it, dude, we would love for you to leave a review. Like, it means a lot to us. And I'm trying to be more mindful of leaving reviews myself because I'm an outgoing, like go-getter, motivated type of guy. And I think about like, dude, how can I expect these other people to leave a written review, let alone maybe just a couple stars on it,
Right.
if like I don't go and do that? So yeah, I just try and be mindful of that. So yeah, if anybody wants to leave a review, we've got over 120, I think now, reviews between Conscious Contact, Full Disclosure, and the Ghost of Gettysburg, which is like insane. Is just
Yeah.
really, really insane. And like the number of views they've gotten blows my mind. Yeah, it really, really means a lot. So man, we would love for you guys to check out Secrets of the Sasquatch. I think it's filled with some great, compelling stories by experiencers, as well as if you're really into Sasquatch and you're watching all the different series
Yeah.
or other documentaries. I think there's some new information in it that, whether you believe it or not, like it's nice to get some different
Right.
perspectives. And I think it just makes people more well-rounded. Whatever you do with the information is up to you. But And also anything that like I'm typically into, it's like, oh dude, whatever. If I'm watching another piece on that, I like it to have some new information and not just be the same
Yes.
old, same old. So I think everybody will enjoy it. And also, if you want to follow us, Dockside Media, we're at www.docksidemedia.com. That's got links to our docs to the
Uh-huh.
stream, like on the streaming sites that they're on. And then we're very active on Facebook, Dockside Media. Just search that. And also on Twitter at Dockside Media, Instagram at Dockside Media, and TikTok at Dockside
Yeah, I
Media.
heard you're doing really you're smashing it on TikTok, right? With your short videos.
We had some, really cool, different viral video. The one of me in an alien costume when Chris's daughter was getting off the bus because we were shooting some like alien B-roll for the In Plain Sight, the intelligence
Yeah.
community UFOs. We're shooting that, and his daughter's like coming home in a little bit. I'm like, oh, dude, we can't miss this opportunity, bro. Like, we got to get this. And sure enough, it's at like 107.5 thousand views on TikTok.
That's pretty
and
cool.
a ton of likes. And also for people into these types of topics, we also do 1 minute mysteries, which is this little series where it's like a 1 or 2 minute video on different things like Operation Northwoods, Mothman. We got some that are coming out here shortly on like remote viewing,
Very cool.
and all these different things that are just 1 or 2 minutes. But again, it's like, oh, cool, I didn't hear of that before, and then it allows you to get some info on it. And then if you want to dig deeper, you certainly can.
Absolutely. Final question from me. Actually, before you tell me where you're going to be next, who got to wear the Sasquatch costume?
So that was our boy Adam Hartwick with Shadow Alley Productions, and he was the guy that also wore the ET costume in Conscious Contact. Full disclosure, he does like reviews of different masks and costumes. The dude dropped a considerable amount of money on that Sasquatch costume and pieced it all together. And dude, it was so dope. Like, I mean, we needed that, and we just try and go that extra mile, just to help tell the story, man. This is like storytelling and seeing the Sasquatch, dude. It looks like believable.
It's a good one. Yeah,
it's a cool costume.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better. If you're doubting, like if you want to watch a Sasquatch thing, this is definitely one of the better produced ones. It's not overhyped. And I'm sure I can put this all in a review, but there's not a lot of like that hype that you get with overproduced pieces where it's just like the thriller music and super dramatic what is it, reenactments. If you guys, you do it well. If you do a reenactment or if you do a Sasquatch in costume, it's done naturally. It's not done like over the top, if that makes any sense. So you're watching it and you're actually enjoying it because you can kind of like see it, you feel like it's real. So
you rock. Thank you so much for having us on,
so
Pricilla.
much.
And like just all the kind words. And I'm just very thankful that you've been enjoying these documentaries. And girl, we got we'll be sending you In Plain Sight, the intelligence community and UFOs here, certainly.
Yes. And where will you be next? Are you going on Alien Girl next? Where can people find you? What's your next appearance, I guess?
Man, let me see. We've got a boatload scheduled here. We're going to be popping up on, let's see, Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast. That's our boys Ash and Greg from across the pond in the UK. So we're going to be on that Tuesday, and also on Hysteria 51 podcast on Tuesday, the 5th. So the day that it releases. Alien Girl, if you still listening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 6th. That's Wednesday. Girl, we will be on there, and we're really pumped because
awesome.
She's just
Alien. She's great. She's got the music intro and the energy, and she's just a good person all around. So you can feel like that happiness from her. So it gets you pumped too.
Yep. And I don't want these other people hating on me. So real quick, we're also going to Savita the Starseed on Thursday.
Oh, I love Savi.
Rep Paranormal and Friends next Thursday. Alien Bite Gnostic next Friday. Deb's Data Dojo again. Dude.
I love Deb.
Dude, Deb's insane. I was on there a couple weeks ago. she's a
Oh,
trip. And
yeah,
yo,
she's yeah.
she has me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going on Deb's Data Dojo to help her co-host
Oh,
guest Matthew Roberts, who was the
very
gimbal,
cool.
one of the guys on the USS Nimitz for the
Nice.
gimbal video. I'm like, wait, what? Dude, this is insane. Like, I was on
Yeah.
her podcast and she hit me up. And she's like, oh, hey, do you want to help me co-host this one? I'm like, yo, this is dope. So maybe, I don't know, maybe get Matthew in a documentary or something here
Yeah,
coming
that
up
would be
as
cool.
well. Or I don't know, but it's just all very like, dude, serendipitous or just
Yeah,
all
it
this
just
stuff
comes
is
to you.
way better than I could have
Mhm.
ever like really scripted or planned out or anything like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have the Dockside Media website in the description. So make sure you go there and follow them on all their socials and everything. And on their website, you can find all that stuff. Tyler, hang out for a minute after. I have a question for you about some audio stuff. But thank you to everybody in the chat. Laura, Curious George. We got the Lauras in here. Sherry, so awesome to see you, even though I didn't know it was you at first. And then I'm trying to, I don't want to miss anybody. And then I have, the guy, Baby Goat, Alien Girl, of course. The poor guy that Grandmaster that I blocked on accident last time, I guess. I'm so sorry. I will fix that. I'll figure it out because I love having you in the chat. So, yes, thank you to anybody listening later on live. Well, I guess you're not going to listen to live after today, but anybody listening on Anomalous Podcast Network or on YouTube later, please give your feedback. Do like the thumbs up thing, the subscribe thing, and there's other ways to support the channel in the description. Have a great night.